Hello, you're watching CarBuyer.com.sg as we review the new 2018 BMW X2. It's BMW's latest, smallest coupe-like SUV. And if you didn't know, it's a thing BMW started back in 2008 with the X6 and added to with the smaller X4 in 2014. Now BMW calls these cars Sports Activity Coupes or SACs. I guess they never thought anyone would say, "I'm really having a ball with my SAC." But let's not go down that path. Like Mercedes calling its GLC coupe a coupe, this is basically marketing talk. They're all just SUVs with different styling, and in our experience, they're not really that much more fun to drive either. But with the X2, BMW has managed to pull off something a little more different and a little more interesting on the whole. The X2 is closely related to the X1. Both are the smallest SUVs BMW currently makes. Both of them have the same UKL platform and the same 2-litre turbocharged engine, along with roughly similar dimensions and an identical wheelbase. Although the X2 is 7cm lower and obviously has sleeker lines overall. Now this is the sDrive20i model. The 2.0 is the standard engine in Singapore for now, with the sDrive20i coming later. That gets a 1.5-litre turbocharged engine with 140 horsepower. The lower roofline and sleeker rear end is typical of coupe-inspired vehicles, but BMW has included some interesting new design details too. There's a C-pillar mounted badge, and if you're a BMW fan, that should tickle your fancy, as this is a design flourish seen on classic coupes of the past, like the 3.0 CSL known as the Batmobile. For now, with the X2, the only trim choice for us is called M Sport X, but there's also a basic and M Sport trim option coming to Singapore in future, and they should cost less. The M Sport X model has frozen grey body accents all around, and there's also a rear diffuser with extra large dual tailpipes. This paintwork is called galvanic gold, and it's a little more yellow than the other famous BMW yellow called Phoenix Yellow, which everyone remembers from the E46 M3. Now honestly, given how everybody's absolutely batshit crazy over crossovers right now, the X2 is in the right place looks-wise to be a popular car. But first we need to find out if the X2 makes the driver feel like a proper BMW should. Now while the cabin looks almost exactly the same as the X1, I think it's been executed at a slightly higher level, and that's because of the nice trim and material choices that BMW has made here. For example, we have our motifs here, the hexagon motif. We have a little strip of chrome. We have a contrast stitching, that's standard. This is yellow, you can choose blue if you want. We have our adjustable mood lighting, you can change the colors. There's also the dark headliner. There's also sport seats, which also are in half Alcantara, and that's a nice touch to bring out the sportiness of the car, just like the M steering wheel we see here, the fat M steering wheel, shifter pedals, M badge and all. But if we want to talk about sportiness, does the X2 really drive like a coupe or a coupe-like SUV? Let's find out right now. Driving along in the X2, it feels quite similar to its brother, the X1. And that's no surprise because it's got the same wheelbase, it's got the same platform, it's got the same engine, it's got similarly sized wheels. But in one big respect, the X2 is very, very different from its brother. It's actually really fun to drive quickly. Now BMW has made the car corner quite well. It's got a nice positive front end, which is really quite pointy. And in fact, it reminds me quite a lot of a Mini, maybe even a JCW Mini. As you can see, the car really is quite fun to drive around corners. A bit of a squeal there. Now, something like a Golf GTI or a Golf R would be, for the same money, a little bit faster, a little bit more fun to drive. This is still a crossover. I can still feel, the high center of gravity is chunky, the visibility is not that good, but in terms of small premium crossovers, anything other than like the GLA 45 or something ridiculous like that, the X2 is actually quite fun to drive, and it fully lives up to its coupe billing. So at least in this respect, we have a small crossover that's fun to drive, still very practical, and it looks cool too. So if you want to read more about the X2, log on to www.carbuyer.com.sg to see what we think of it in detail.